Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, so I will just give you a brief layout of the interface itself. So you will be able to see the screen once you have your credentials with you. So Gayatri will send you your credentials and the job codes. Once you have those, you will be able to sign in. Once you sign in, you have to go to this tab, this vendor tab. It looks like a suitcase. You go here, and here you will be able to see all of your jobs. So a job code will be assigned to each of you, and you will have to work on only that video which is assigned to you. Okay, so let's say you are assigned this job code. You click over here, you will get this option, accept or reject job. You accept it, and you will be able to see the video as it is. Then you will have to start working on the curation project. All files have the autosave option on at all times. Just after every 12 to 13 segments, make sure that you are clicking on save, just to be sure that your progress is actually being saved on the platform. And then you can either continue working, or if you are going to exit the software, then save the file before you exit. Then you can go back to jobs and log out. Just make sure that after you have finished curating the video, do not submit the job. Just let us know on mail when you have finished it. Okay, so Gayatri will send you your job codes. She will also send you the Rian login credentials. And once you have all of this information, you can start working on your projects. Just try to complete them before tomorrow's meeting, so that once you start working, you will get an idea of how it works. And if you have any doubts, then we can clear them in tomorrow's training session before we start on the second part of it. All right. Okay,
Excuse me.
so
Can you repeat what you said about submitting the job?
yes, once you finish curating the videos, do not submit the job. Just send us a mail that you have finished, and mention your job code in it so that we know that you're done. And then we will be able to submit it on our end.
Okay, but how many jobs will be I getting?
Just a second. So, today we will be going over Rian, which is a language assistant for us, which we will be using to curate, translate, and generate voiceovers on. So I will be sharing my screen to show you this interface. Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So here we have a Bengali video already. The goal today is to understand what curation means, how you will be able to go about it, and what all is expected from you for this work. So, curation refers to the timestamping of audio segments, or reviewing the source dialogues and audio segment transcriptions, and if needed, to rectify these transcriptions. To note some points, when you accept a job for curation, you should be able to see all of these columns on your screen. First, the video itself. Second, the segment text. Third, the duration. Fourth, the target audio waveform. Okay, all of these. If one of these columns are missing, you can go here to view. Just note that all of these should show on your screen. You need the individual recording, you need the play button, the media player, the timeline. In the
Excuse me. I'm
yes,
sorry to interrupt, but
Mhm.
could we please record this meeting
Yes,
for
it's being
future reference?
recorded.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. In the show hide columns, Please remember to keep these two on as well, audio deviation and duration. Another point to note is when you accept any job, make sure that the phonetic typing is off. It needs to be off. You can either do this from here, or you can go to this icon over here in options and you can select this to be off. Okay, so just a basic explanation of what all of these things are. So these segments are the dialogues which are present in the video itself. Whatever the person in the video is saying is automatically captured by the software and it is added to the segments over here. The waveform over here is used to understand where the voice is starting for a dialogue and where the voice is stopping. This waveform is necessary on your screen to accurately timestamp each and every segment or each and every dialogue that she is saying. It is absolutely recommended to use headphones when you are curating so that all of your curation is done very accurately. When you see this waveform, make sure that this limit is set to high. So these are some basic pointers before you start working on a curation project. Do you have any questions so far? Hello? Does anybody have any questions so far?
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay, so to begin curation, you have to use the waveform to adjust the audio segments. When you click on this icon, you will be able to hear what this person is saying. For example,
হ্যালো বন্ধুরা, আজকের ভিডিওতে তোমাদের স্বাগত। আজকে আমরা আগের ভিডিওর মতোই রিজনিং অ্যানালজির
okay, was that audible to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to use this waveform to adjust her dialogue. For example, let's say that her dialogue has started over here. Okay, so the beginning of this dialogue is curated properly, but the end of this dialogue, for example, is happening over here. In such a case, you can see that this segment has crossed what words she is using, whatever she has said. So in such a case, you need to verify where her last words from this segment have stopped. You select this segment and you bring it up to this blue line. This means that this dialogue is accurately time-stamped to this segment. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. So this waveform, like I said, is going to help you to see where the dialogue starts, where it ends, or if there is a pause or a break in the dialogue. If you cannot exactly pinpoint the starting or the ending of a dialogue, you go to this settings, you go to playback speed, you go to 0.25. This will slow down the audio for you to accurately timestamp it. For example, so now I know that her words are ending over here, for example. So now I have to bring it to where she has stopped and I need to curate the next segment accordingly. We know now that her first segment, her first dialogue has ended over here. So now we have adjusted it as per what we have heard. Then we go to the next segment. If you click on play for 3, you will see that this particular part that we have not included in this segment it won't be heard. Let's see. So So the segment will start exactly where you have stopped this curation. To avoid any to avoid missing out on any dialogue, you will have to listen to the entire video and accurately timestamp all of these segments. Alright, so this has to be done for all of these segments. Is that understood?
Yes.
Okay, so over here you can see the duration. This is blue, this is red. So if this segment goes above 6 seconds, then it will turn red. This is due to the duration limit set on the software itself. If the audio has a pause, or if the sentence ends and another one begins in the same segment, then you will be able to split the two dialogues. Splitting the dialogues will allow for an evened out segment, and an evened out segment will later help you in the voiceover stage. So how do you get this duration to below 6 seconds? You right click on this segment. You can say add row above or add row below. You need to read whatever is in this segment, and if there is a pause or a break in the dialogue, you will be able to split it. For example, if I say add row above, add row below. So now I have an empty segment here. So I pluck this dialogue from here, I cut it and I paste it in this segment. And let's say that segment number 2 ends over here. So now as you can see, the moment I am below 6, the deviation is no longer red. So now I have, for example, curated this. Let's say that the second segment ends over here. The third segment starts here. So this third segment I have extended up to here. And if it ends here, then I curate it up to here. Okay, so this is how you can adjust the duration of these segments. It is not mandatory for you to bring all of these segments below 6. It is just advisable that you do so because it will help you in the voiceover stage. If at all you get such a message, you want to split a row, you click on the segment and you say add row above. But you are getting a message saying you cannot add a row because there is no enough time available. This is because on the waveform you do not have space to add an audio. So in such a case, what you can do is you can bring this over here. You can say add row above and it will add a row for you over here. So now you have another segment. Okay, so now you can decide what happens if you want a dialogue to be over here, if you want to split one dialogue into 2 segments or into 3 segments, however you wish, then this will help you to do so. Just remember that once you are done adding a row or splitting a dialogue, you curate those split dialogues as well. Once you are done curating those dialogues, make sure that you click on play over here to ensure that the curated dialogue only has the content mentioned in the segment. Is that clear?
It's clear, but just I'm double checking since this is a lot of instructions, and since you also mentioned that this meeting is being recorded, so
Yes.
will you be able to share this like today post the meeting, so that whenever I want to see clarity, I can get back to it and check the instructions.
Sure. I will just check once and I will let you know in shortly. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the meantime, I think you can just note down the pointers that I'm suggesting. I can repeat anything if you like. Just make sure you have your own notes ready as well. Okay, just another instruction is since this is these segments are captured by an AI, sometimes the transcription is not caught correctly. So in one segment, you might not have all of the words that she is saying. So our job as a human effort is to listen to this video properly and add or delete the transcription as per what she has said. So you need to also check the written content of all the segments after or before you curate them. Okay? Sometimes it may so happen that you come across a segment like this. It's a segment, but just a second.
হ্যালো বন্ধুরা, আজকের ভিডিওতে তোমাদের
So as you can see, it's a segment. There is a transcription for it, but there is no dialogue present. So in such a case, what you need to do is double check if there is a dialogue hiding in the audio, or if she's spoken too fast. You go to settings, you go to playback speed. For 0.25, you listen to what she has said, you verify that there is absolutely no dialogue in this segment, and once you have verified this, you can come here, you can click, and you can say delete row. This will remove this from the segments, and this will help you in the translation stage, because in the translation stage you might not have the option to add or delete the dialogues, the source text. Okay, so this has to be followed for the entire video. If at all you come across a segment where there is a dialogue, as in there is written text present but she has not said anything of the sort, you can verify it, you can check it, and then you can delete it. It might also happen that the software has not picked up on a dialogue that she has spoken and it has not given it anywhere in the segments. So in such a case, you click on wherever she has stopped the previous dialogue or started the next dialogue, and you add row above or add row below, and then you write all of this her dialogue down, and then you can curate it. Is that clear?
Hello.
Yes.
So we don't have to segment the music part or the background noise, right?
No, you don't have to segment the background noise.
Only the dialogue.
Yes, only the dialogues.
Okay.
Does anyone have any other questions?
Hello.
Yes.
We just have to segment the this part, this written part, right?
Yes, just the written part.
Okay.
So whatever she is speaking is come out here in the form of a transcription, right? So whatever she has said has to be time stamped. Sometimes, for example, you can see that let's say this dialogue number 5 has started over here, she has finished speaking it somewhere around here, and the next segment, it has begun immediately. She has started speaking over here, but this fifth segment extends up to here, which is wrong. So in the fifth segment, I will also be able to hear whatever she has said in this segment, which is not right, which is what we need to timestamp it for. Whatever is in that dialogue has to match the waveform. If this dialogue is ending over here, then this segment needs to end here as well. And if everything in this particular segment has started over here, then you need to curate the sixth segment accordingly. Is that clear? Okay. Does anyone have any questions so far?
One more question.
Yes.
In the time, in the duration part, if there is a rate, can we submit the job?
Yes, you can still submit the job. Like I said, it's not mandatory for you to get these segments into the gray area. It is alright if some segments stay red. But what happens is this might create an issue during the voiceover stage. So it is advisable that you split the segments which you are able to split. If you are absolutely unable to split a segment, for example, this has come up as one dialogue, there are no pauses in between, or there are no sentence breaks, then it's okay if you keep the duration as it is. It is all right. Sometimes it might show up as red because it's not curated properly. For example, if I am extending this sixth segment so far, then it has gone up. This is happening because the dialogue is actually starting here, but it is not curated properly. So first, try adjusting the don't worry about the duration at first. Worry about how accurately you have timestamped all of these segments. Afterwards, when you are reviewing everything, if you need to check, as in if this segment can be split into two, then split it into two. If not, then you can leave the duration red as it is.
Okay, so if I made any error, that will not make that will make the duration part red, right?
Error as in?
If there is error. Error means you just mentioned that the segment, if I took it left side, if the segmentation is wrong, then it comes out red, right?
It could,
and
yes.
also, if it crosses 6 seconds, it comes out red.
Yes.
Okay.
So it comes out as red if it crosses 6 seconds. That is the explanation for the duration. This might happen for two reasons. One, the segment is not time-stamped, like you just mentioned, that this dialogue begins here but your sixth segment is starting elsewhere. Then the duration of that segment naturally increases because now there is music that has also been time-stamped in that segment, which we don't want. What we want is only the dialogues. So once you are done curating it, which means time-stamping the dialogue, this duration should turn gray on its own, because almost all dialogues are captured by the software for up to 6 seconds. But if that is not the case, then you will be able to split the two dialogues, or if it's the same sentence but there is a sort of break in between where, for example, she is giving you two options or three options, then there will be a slight pause in her dialogue. So that's where you will be able to split a segment. If you think that it is not necessary to split a segment, then don't. You can keep it in one segment. It is not mandatory that you get these red durations up to gray. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Does anyone have any other questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Another very important instruction is this. If you can see, number 6 and number 7 are sticking together. So this is something that we need to avoid at all costs. No segment should be sticking like this. You need to have a sort of gap in between them, and there is absolutely going to be a gap between all segments. So you must curate it as accurately as possible and avoid any sticking segments. You can rectify them, of course, when you listen to the audio, when you check the waveform, you will be able to see if there is a break in the audio. For example, over here you can very clearly see that this waveform, this voice wave has gone up. So there is a voice here. But since this is very short, this is probably just music. And that means that there is no dialogue here. Even though this segment is extended up to here, there is no dialogue here. So once you verify that this dialogue is starting elsewhere, you will be separating the segments. So once you are done curating the entire video, just make sure that there are no segments sticking to one another. If in case there are segments sticking to one another, you can create a very minor gap in between them. For example, just milliseconds apart. This is also fine. All we want is that the segments are not sticking together, because this will finally help you during the VO stage and in translation, because in the voiceover section you will have to generate a voice that matches all of the segments that you're generating them for. So if the intonation for one segment does not match the other segment, then it will come out in a very rushed tone. So always make sure while curating a video that there is a gap in all of the segments. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions so far? Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Once you have curated all of the segments, once you have reviewed all of the transcriptions, I suggest that you go to the very start of this video, you press on play, and you listen and you read your transcriptions as she is speaking. This will help you to correct any errors that are present. You will also be able to check if you have timestamped them correctly. Sometimes it may have happened that you have forgotten to check the individual recording, and that will reflect on the waveform, because you will be able to see that once this blue line is reaching a particular voice wave, the dialogue, this segment it's not incorporated in the voice, even though this particular segment has those words. Then you will be able to rectify this error immediately. So once you're done curating, listen to the entire video, read all of the transcriptions, and fix any small errors that may have happened. Okay?
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions so far?
Can you please repeat this part?
Okay, so once you are done curating the entire video, just make sure that you go to the very beginning of the video, you press play, and as this person is speaking, you read all of the text in these segments. What this will do is it will help you to check if you have transcribed everything properly, if all of the sentences have been placed in the segments properly, and if you have curated all of the segments properly. It could have happened that once you have curated one segment, it is what you need to, after you curate one single segment, you are expected to listen to these dialogues, right? To each individual segment dialogue. But if in case you have missed listening to one of these dialogues, once you are reviewing your work, you will be able to find the small errors. For example, if you play this fourth
reasoning
segment
and logic.
and it has not been curated properly, then you will be able to see this blue line follows the waveform. This blue line, it follows the waveform. So if her voice has ended over here, but your segment does not extend till there, you will be able to immediately see that this segment is not curated properly, and then you can work on this individual segment during your review. So a final check is expected before you submit all of your jobs to us. Is that clear?
Okay, clear.
Okay. Does anyone have any other questions regarding curation?
No.
Okay, then just give me 1 second, please.